reload, and welcome on in. If you are watching the last part of that video, we are back with this part. We're talking about how we can improve the team. If you are new and joining us for the first time, please hit that like button and sub button and bell so you don't miss any new content. But we need to use the draft and those top 10 picks wisely. And I'm talking about offensive linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers, the works. We need to retool the entire team. Clean out all the garbage and retool the entire team in the way that we want it built. And a lot of that is going to depend on which head coach that we hire. We could go back to the 3-4 scheme like we're doing this year, or we could switch it back to the 4-3. That's up to them. And if we do that, we have to fully commit. We have to fully go after players of those schemes. We cannot switch around. We can't do wheelie carts here. We got to stick with it. You know? You can't deviate. Otherwise, we're going to be right back where we started on defense. That's okay for 1 year if you're building up a roster full of those types of players. Second year, you got to start filling in those gaps and building up depth. Once you build up that depth, then you can start reloading if you don't feel like these players are what you want. But I suggest contracts of 1 to 3 years for these guys. Because of the fact that you don't know whether these guys are going to pan out, whether they're going to stay healthy, what's going to happen in 3 years. You know, test them out. See what you have. Don't just leave them on the bench. Test them out in real life game situations. I don't care what people think. Oh, we gave up on said player. Oh, there's a battle going on. No, ignore the media. Ignore the press. Do what you think is best for this team. That is what is best for this team. We need to know what is on our 53-man roster. Who is healthy and is active. That way, when the new coach comes in, he knows exactly what he's got, what he doesn't have. Then, we can start building through the draft with the new scouts, with the new head coaching staff, the new offensive coordinator, the new defensive coordinator, and we can start looking at these guys properly. And I got to tell you, all the breakdowns I'm seeing does not make me happy. So, that's the plan going forward. If you checked out the last part of the video, I was going into what the future plans of the channel are for this off-season in these last 3 weeks. If you've not seen that already, go check that out. But I want to mention one more player, Chris Hogan. Chris Hogan's back off the IR, made some plays. I'm very happy to see him actively involved in the West Coast. Awesome. Let's keep it going. So, we've got the Colts and the Saints last 2 games. The future of our season is in tanking the last 2 years and tanking the last 2 games here. That way we can get the proper players that we need. We got to retain a top 10 draft pick. That's essential for rebuilding. Otherwise, we're going to miss our chance for offensive linemen that we desperately need. They're going to have a shelf life of at least 5 years. You know, you got to think 5 to 7 realistically. If you get a really stone guy on our line. Same with defensive linemen. And those are the essential building blocks that you build around. So, the Colts game, they don't really have as many weapons as they used to. And Andrew Luck kind of was, when he had a line, he was very, very dangerous. Because he was able to get these guys the ball much more quickly. And smartly. And he made good reads. Very, very good reads. So, apply that to our pass defense right now. The way it's looking right now. And with Andrew Luck retired now, you're dealing with his backup, which I'm not 100% familiar with, really. But they haven't really been doing that great this year. They've been fighting for that wild card spot, but I don't know that they're going to get it. I highly doubt it, actually. So, we go into Indianapolis. That's a hostile crowd environment. We weren't really selling that many tickets here in Charlotte. So now, realistically, crowd-wise, we're dealing with hostile environment, hostile environment, hostile environment. Oh, at home, halfway decent crowd, hostile environment. Back on the road, hostile environment. And then we deal with the Saints in the Dome, hostile environment. It's hard to win when you don't have the fan support. That's even if you have the weapons. That's even if you have the players. And the Saints may be playing some backups because they've already secured their playoff spot, really. So I don't expect Breeze to stay out there long, if he's out there. Cook and Kamara as well, I don't expect them to fully be out there. That last week, it's just nuts. You know, and I'm glad that the fantasy league ends right before that last week. Because you don't know who's going to win, who's not going to win, who's going to be playing, who's not going to be playing. It's just chaos. So I am so happy that fantasy league ends right before week 17. But the fact that I chose Seattle's defense over Kansas City's defense today for fantasy should tell you all you need to know about my confidence about our offensive line and our offense in general. It's garbage, it's trash, it's dumpster fire. Call it what you will. It is what it is. And if we don't start fixing this stuff, we're in for 3 to 5 more years of this. And again, I know you guys don't want that. None of us do. Long-term success is what we need. If it takes 2 to 3 years, so be it. Retool. Rebuild. Restructure. Then add depth. Then you'll start seeing results. Look at the Gettleman era. And I'm talking specifically about years 12 and 13. We did not do well in 12 and 13 because we were retooling, we were rebuilding, and then look at the results after. You see the momentum build up. 13, we won the division. 14, playoffs consistently for 2 years in a row. 14, we jumped the gun and we got to the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl was played in 2015, where We were just one weakness away from a Lombardi trophy. One weakness. And that was left tackle. And that is where the destruction started. Right there. That is how we want this team rebuilt and retooled. Just like that. With that long-term process in place. Now, a lot of people didn't like Gettleman because of how he treated the players. True. Marty can draft the players. He's on contracts. That's why we need somebody from Tepper's crew working with him on contracts. But if we get the right crew together and the right coaching staff, right players, right schemes, everything put together, 3 to 5 years, you'll start seeing results. I'm going to end the video there because this is getting a little lengthy. But thank you so much for all your support and all the new subs. I love you guys so much. We're a family. Don't forget that. Show some class. Show some respect to other people. Even through the losses. Especially through the losses. And represent yourselves well. You are Carolina Panthers fans. Remember that. Everything you do, actions-wise, represents us. As a fan base, as an organization. So with that being said, keep pounding!